How's it going, guys? It's Hidden in Christ 411, Hidden in Messiah 411, and I got some new videos, some new things coming. So I just want to get this out of the way, and I'll be done with this topic for a while. But yeah, so I want to bring forth this revelation about cryptocurrency that I got. It's on the rise. It's been around for a little while, but there's a lot of people getting into it right now who might be believers. There are a lot of people who have become very wealthy from investing in it early on before it became a big thing. And there's people who've been in it for just a couple of years. So I want to bring a understanding about it that breaks it down a little bit, so we can see what is this thing, like what is it going to become, and where, basically where is it going. It's one thing to learn about something early on and you might not understand what it is right away, but then later on it totally evolves into something else. All right, so I was just thinking about the words. I like to look at the words of anything. That's like one of my favorite hobbies, just breaking down words, looking at the etymology, going into the Hebrew, going into the Greek, going into Aramaic, looking at different languages, studying Japanese, looking at Chinese, looking at Arabic. That's just something that I like to do, but I believe that as believers, we have to realize too, the scriptures took place in a region where there was multiple different languages, so much so that the Bible was recorded in different languages. So the scriptures are very multicultural, but at its core, obviously, it comes from a group of people from the Holy Spirit through the Hebrews. So when it comes to languages, it's very important that we look up the history of words. You might have a dream. This happens a lot where people hear, I know a sister, she got a whole sentence in Hebrew the other week. I've seen things in Hebrew on my dreams. I know people who see things in Greek and multiple different languages. So it's very important, because once you break down a word, you will begin to understand really what is this logo about? What is this word about? What is this slogan about? You got to go into the history, because 9 times out of 10, people who are creating these companies and these different things, they're not really trying to hide what they're trying to say. It's known to the people who are within the company, but yeah. And we know that because for the last 14 years, I would say, that has been exposed greatly online. I remember when I first got on YouTube around 2008, just being on there a lot. There was a bunch of videos about the conspiracy theories, the secret societies and all of that stuff, and how they use different colors, different shapes, different logos to speak to their audience. And the whole time it's we didn't even know that was going on. So I really am someone who looks into symbols. It's very important. But let me get into it. So I was looking at the word crypto, and the word crypto, when you look at the etymology, it means basically the prefix means secret, hidden, not evident or obvious, concealed, secret, hidden. Another definition of it can be a grotto, cavern, vault. Cryptos, meaning hidden, to pile up. Let me find something else. Underground burial vault or chapel in a church. So I thought that was very interesting. Maybe there's other people online who've already broken some of this stuff down, but I haven't seen anything. I haven't really been looking for it. But that's very interesting, because it makes me think of, it's what are they hiding within it? Why are you calling it crypto? I'm pretty sure you could go online and find a secular source that'll give a different understanding from a more more biased approach where they're like in defense of crypto. It doesn't mean anything, like secret society, da da da. But that's very interesting that the name of the currency, you had to understand, the name of all of the currencies, the general name of all of the coins and all of the currency underneath the category is crypto. So now that we see the definition of crypto, and you put that together, okay, hidden currency, secret currency, that's very interesting. Something I was looking at, something I was thinking about while I was looking at this was just the fact of what are they hiding in it? You know, I try to look at everything, like I said, in multiple different ways, and I think right now it is a good time if you are an investor. If that's something that you do, I think right now, in the time period we live in, while it's still new, I think you can make money from it. I think you can. You know, it's not even I think, I know you can. But the future of where it's going is what I really want to deal with right now. If you look at Bitcoin being one of the most valuable coins that are on the market, like, if you really just pay attention to the logo, it's a B, right? But I was looking at this logo, and you basically, if you flip the logo sideways, you can see that it looks like an M. And then I was just instantly, I mean, it wasn't even, I just think like that all the time. I was like, oh snap, mark of the beast. And then if you look at the picture within the M, it looks like a beast. It looks like two eyes, two teeth like fangs, and whiskers like a beast. Because, you know, like lions and tigers are considered beasts in the scriptures. That's what a beast is. It's basically like a mighty land animal, is what a beast is. So you can also look at that logo and also see a serpent in there too, if you just take away the whiskers. So the scriptures, we know Jesus is the Lion of Judah, but the scriptures also say that the enemy walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Very interesting. And then plus it looks like a serpent, and we already know the curse that was put upon the serpent. We already know about all the symbolism of the serpent and snakes in the scripture and the dragon. That's not anything hard to look into the scripture. I have a video about the seraphims, the angels, talking about how there might have been a class of angels that fell in these different rebellions from our Father that have something to do with dragons and serpents and stuff like that. But you can watch those videos when I unprivate them. All right, and something else I wanted to mention, but I forgot to mention, is when you look at the logo, the Bitcoin logo sideways, and you can see this picture of like a lion or some type of beast and a serpent with the fangs. It's also interesting that it's called Bitcoin, because when you look at the word bit in itself, we know that like megabytes, so the word byte and bit are like technological terms, but they come from the word byte and the word bit, as in technology. They come from the same root word. They have the same root word. So if you look up the history of the word byte, B-Y-T-E, they spelled it like that on purpose so that people would not get confused. I think you call those homonyms, words that sound the same but they're spelled different. I believe that's what a homonym is. So when you look at this, it's very interesting because this logo sideways, it really does look like an animal trying to bite. So all this symbology, even going back to the whole situation with the pandemic and that whole, you know what, and people calling it the serpent bite. You know, there's this whole thing of biting. It's this whole thing of, wolves in the scriptures attacking the sheep if there's no shepherd. And just when I think of something being ravenous, I do think of fangs. I do think of like biting. I do think of something that just wants to tear something apart. So it's very interesting. There's many ways you could look at Bitcoin. This is just a way that we should also look at it as well. Cryptocurrencies and the hidden messages within everything as the spirit of the Most High reveals. We can't turn a blind eye to these things. We have to be wise, and it's not about focusing on this stuff 24/7, but there's people that he has raised up in these times to be able to see things like this. I'm not the only one. You guys probably have already seen some things like this, some people who are hearing this video. So I know I'm not alone, and at the end of the day, this is a spiritual war. So we have to also send out these warnings to protect and help those who might not be able to see. Everyone's not going to be able to see certain things. I'm not able to see certain things. There's people who they have ministries dealing with these type of topics, and they are way deeper into like seeing into hidden messages, hidden meanings within things. Daniel's ministry was very much dealing with this type of ministry. He's like one of the first people in the scriptures besides Joseph where he's breaking down dreams and understanding and hidden things and messages, interpretation. That's the type of ministry that is. So, yeah. And another thing about logos and art in general, when it comes to, a logo is designed by someone. So this form of art that a lot of people are not privy to. And it's this kind of understanding has escaped regular societies. I mean, if you're into it, you just know. But when it comes to painting, this is stuff that I study all the time. Even though I'm not in school right now, I still study and keep these things sharp, try to keep them in my mind. When you study the paintings of old, the reason why people like them so much is because the paintings were designed. It took years and years and years for the Mona Lisa to be painted. It wasn't just like, Instagram, you see people drawing and painting things so quickly. But back in the day, they used to take so long to just paint things because they wanted to perfect them. Sometimes they would start a painting and destroy it and start over. And when you really study the old masters of painting, they designed every aspect, even down to the color and the placement of everything. So when you look at the modern day logos, you can't look at them and just say, oh, it's just a logo, because the people who you go to see their paintings in a museum, who people study from and in art school, they teach you about all these people. This is the pattern that they're teaching you through, is through these Michelangelos and Da Vinci's and all these people. They're teaching you through the patterns of these people, Rembrandt, these artists that you've probably heard of in art history. They're designing these paintings. It's a real thought out process. And if you don't understand the process, you wouldn't know. But I know that it's not random, a logo. Because, people are like, oh, man, it's just a logo. Oh, man, it's just a cartoon. I beg to differ. When it comes to even the comic book industry, they have editors. The artists will submit art, but they have editors, people who review everything, and it goes through a process of revision and revision and revision, because it has to be right. It has to speak a language. It has to catch your attention. So a lot of the great painters in human history, the reason why these paintings are so renowned and they're in museums even into this day, Yeah, and these paintings are, to me, like the content within it is not really so interesting, but it's the way that they present the content. The reason why it's so appealing is because they have mastered how to move your eye around the painting. So when you look at a painting, it's not random. You like the painting, or you just stare at a painting for so long because the artist knows how to make your eye move around the painting and look at the parts of the painting that he wants you to look at. So these logos, they're no different. They're no different. They have symbolism in them, as we know. I mean, this is not new, but I just want, for anyone who's watching this who's like, oh man, it's just a logo, you're crazy. No, they strategically make logos. Talk to a graphic designer, ask him about his process. They'll do 50 versions of a logo before they pick the right one. They'll have different variations of the same thing, and they'll pick the one that they like or that the client agreed upon. So when you see little things in logos, it's not random. It's not at all. Every shape, even down to the color, is strategic because it's representing an idea. So they have to make sure that the logo can tell you a little bit about what the company really is about. You know, so some logos are more apparent than others. They're more clear. The what they're trying to get across is more clear than others. And some people don't care. It's obvious what they're on. So, yeah. But yeah, back to the Bitcoin logo. So I thought that was very interesting. It's the most valuable one because it was one of the first ones, the Bitcoin. Plus, the logo is just very, very encrypted. There is a hidden message in there. And I can, just based off of that, I can definitely see the Bitcoin going, not Bitcoin, but cryptocurrencies in general taking over. And we really have crypto being like the way people have to pay for things. Like, it's becoming so popular, and it's not even anything. Like I said in the other video, you have to give the value to it for it to have value. Like, it doesn't mean anything unless you build a community around it. So these are just ideas. And eventually someone was going to do this. Like, someone took the time to fulfill a need in the world. And the way we were already going digitally with the release of the iPhone and Apple becoming such a prominent company, the different technological advances, eventually digital currency was going to come. You know, touchscreen phones and debit cards, credit cards. So it's not shocking, but to see that encrypted into the logo of Bitcoin is very interesting. So what are they hiding? What is the hiddenness, the spiritual aspect of the word cryptocurrency? What is going to come out of it? Well, they could be building something within it that eventually this would probably be the thing that puts people on the grid to where the mark of the beast can fully function. I know a lot of people were saying, you know what, it was the mark, and I believe that it's a part of the system. I believe that people definitely would have gotten sick from taking it and possibly die. So I would never even promote it. But I think the mark, if you go to Revelation 13 and you read the chapter very carefully, it says that there's the name of the beast, the number of the beast, the mark of the beast, and the image of the beast. So there's not only the mark, there's 4 levels. There's 4 different ways that someone can eternally lose their life with the Most High in that time period. It's not just one way. The mark will be presented in many different ways. So if you've seen my other video, the 80-day fast video, where I spoke about the image of the beast and the 144,000 and the wisdom in the end times, and you know, these things are not always so obvious. And the word cryptocurrency means hidden, not obvious. So it's very interesting to me. The enemy is using the people to build it, because you have to use the people to build it. It doesn't mean anything unless people buy into the idea. They're taking a risk with their money. maybe this thing is going to become something 20 years from now, 10 years, 5 years. That is what cryptocurrencies are. That's what the dollar bill is in general. The dollar bill doesn't really mean much because the value in gold and silver and precious jewels, that is really the wealth as far as things that people acquire that make them feel like they have money. It's gold and silver and all of that. So the dollar bill is just a borrowing system, as many of us already know. So I'm gonna, because I'm not recording this like the typical way I would make a video, so I'll put all of that on the screen. But I think that is very important to note when it comes to crypto. You know, just be watchful, be sober, you know, be prayerful. You know, don't be so quick to jump into like everything. And I'm not someone who's like, oh, don't get into crypto. I believe, like I said, I believe like if he's calling you to do it, because there are people who are in the finance realm of the body of the Messiah. Like I spoke about in the other video, he has people in every, you know, music, finance, government, these different levels of the kingdom. But I believe that there's a time and a season, and I believe that you shouldn't be blind. Even if you do invest, even if you are into that space, like you got to know what you're doing and be very led by the Spirit, because if this does turn out to be a gateway to the mark of the beast, and you're somebody who can't even see the potential of that being the case, then it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely, digital currencies are definitely a part of, if you can't even buy, sell, or trade without a mark. So it's like, yeah. I feel like that's it. That's all I really wanted to say. Yeah, that's it. So be watchful, be sober when it comes to these newer things that are coming out, and trust Yahshua with everything. Trust the Messiah with everything. Just give him your time. Let him use your resources. Let him move you and guide you. And when you look for confirmation for things, don't be so, that's another thing of like not being so hasty. Don't be so hasty. What I've learned in life is like to slow down and not, even with things that I know are from him, like there's a time and a season for that. You know, there's a time when I'm going to be able to release this word I might have, maybe 4 years from now, maybe a year from now. There's things that I have that he's given me that he told me never to speak about ever. And there's other ministers online that I see who speak about those things, but that's not my ministry. And something that I do see online a lot is people, other believers that are YouTubers, trying to put their ministry on other people. Like, God told you to do this. He didn't tell me to do that. So I can't do what you're doing. You know, so you got to do what he's called you to do. We're one body, but there's different parts, as we know. So you have to do your part, and I have to do what he's called me to do. And this is why different prophets and different ministers, apostles, fivefold, however it goes, they receive. Someone might have a dream about someone, right? And it's a good dream. And then someone else might have a dream about the same person, and it's a correction and a rebuke and some hidden stuff within their life that people might not know. And that's because there's different parts of the body. So just because someone might have a dream about someone and it's not the same, like a good thing, because everyone thinks everything has to be so good, it doesn't mean that that person didn't hear from God, that got some rebuke or something. Because I get things about people all the time, and it's not always good. So I'm not gonna come at the crypto thing in a way that's I'm not just gonna give you the good side of it. I'm gonna give you the other side, because that's how he uses me in general. And one more thing I forgot to mention is I typically look at logos and symbolism and words like that because that's just the way that I am. Like, I'm into parables because I used to love rap music. I've been writing poetry and stuff and rap since I was like 13. So you have to be good at similes, parables, punchlines, metaphors, and all of that. So when I first started reading the Bible and I saw Jesus using all these parables, man, I was just so blown away because he was just like, that one verse he said where he was like, let the dead bury their own dead. I mean, I had to put my Bible down. I was just like, dang, man, like that's crazy. Like, the stuff he would just say was just so powerful. His parables. So I've always been into symbolism, and there's so many people who are. And also, I went to art school, and I've always been someone who looked into symbols as far as logos and stuff anyway, because that's just something that I do. So in art school, they teach us something called silhouette, where you take something that you want to draw or something like that, and instead of drawing it with like many details, you draw the outline of it, because this gives you more interesting ways to draw a thing where it's recognizable to people instantly. So a lot of cartoon characters, when you see them, if you take the outline of the character and fill it in with black, you'll see how unique this character actually is. If you see a silhouette of Bugs Bunny, you're going to be like, that's Bugs Bunny. You don't even have to see his eyes and his color or nothing. So when it comes to the Bitcoin logo, if you look at it in that context, no matter if you make a silhouette of it, it still shows exactly what I was saying. The logo is it's not really like super encrypted in itself. Like I said, sometimes these people just want you to know that they're on some demonic stuff. You know, they mock Jesus. They mock him and the Father. You know what I'm saying? So they put it all up in their stuff. So just be careful. You know, there's a lot of, I'm saying this about Bitcoin, but if you look at the US dollar bill, I mean, it's not, what am I going to say? Hey, don't ever use a dollar bill ever, because there's a pyramid with an all-seeing eye on it. You know what I'm saying? We're in the world, we're not of the world. So you have to use wisdom. If I never spent $1 a day in my life ever again, because I'm like, yo, the US said so wicked, and the dollar bill has all this demonic symbolism, I won't have a place to stay. So he's definitely not calling me to that. But this is something to know, because for so many years we were not looking at the dollar bill in that way. But now these things have been revealed and they're more clear to us. So the same thing with how the dollar bill has all this symbolism. Trust that cryptocurrencies are going to have that weird symbolism in them as well. I actually have another revelation about Shiba, the logo, but I'm kind of done with this subject. I think I said enough about it. But I do want to upload some more stuff, some more videos soon. Be on the lookout for that. And thank you for everybody who subscribed. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. If you had any prophetic dreams talking about this stuff in a way that is like not the biased version, but like the Spirit of the Lord is maybe warning. Share the video as well to people who might be interested in a topic like this, or a discussion where we look at these things in a different perspective. Hallelujah.